Hello, welcome to my videos and my blog. In this time, I'm going to talk about what happened today on FIFA Club World Cup 2025, day 13, where today was played the last day in the group stage, where were played the last game in the group stage, where were played the games of the Group G and the Group H, where in the Group G, the Manchester City defeated and humiliated the Juventus 5-2, and with this victory, the Manchester City won the first place, and Juventus finishes in the second place. Before this game, both teams were qualified to the knockout round, and in the second game, that there was nothing to play, nothing in game. The Al Ain defeated the Wydad AC 2-1, and Al Ain won his first game of the tournament, and they got his first 3 points, and they finish in the third place. And Wydad AC finishes in the bottom, scoreless. And in the last two games in the group stage, in the group H, the Al Hilal defeated the Tuzos de Pachuca 2-0, and thanks to this victory, Al Hilal qualified to the knockout stage, as a second place. And in the second game, Real Madrid didn't have any problem, defeated and humiliated the RB Salzburg, and with this victory, the Real Madrid won the group and finishes in the first place and qualified to the knockout round. And thanks to this loss, RB Salzburg was eliminated. So let's talk about a little more about each game. Let's start with the Group G, where in the first game, the Manchester City defeated and humiliated the Juventus 5-2. Remember that before this game, both teams were qualified to the knockout round, where because they had a perfect score in this tournament, where the Juventus only needed to tie this game or win it to win the group, and Manchester City needed to win this game to win the first place. About this game, the Manchester City didn't have any problem, and they had an easy game, but they defeated the Juventus by 3 goal difference. In this game, the City showed that they are one of the favorite teams to win these tournaments. In my opinion, alongside the PSG, the reigning champion team in the UEFA Champions League, the Real Madrid, the best team in the history, and the Bayern Munich, where in this game the City show that why they are one of the favorite teams to win this tournament. And Juventus, we know that the Juventus is one of the best team in the world, but unfortunately he can't compete, neither of the fit the elite team. About this game, the Man City were leading the game 2-1 in the half time, but in the second half is when they made the difference, where they scored 3 goals without answer, and this was enough to win this game 5-2. With this victory, the Manchester City finishes with a perfect fate. They won the 3 games. They finished with 9 points, and they won the group in the first place. And the Juventus finishes in the second place with 6 points. In the second game of the group, Al Ain defeated 2-1 the Wydad AC. About this game had nothing in play because both teams were eliminated before this game, and both teams were pointless before this game. So the only that was in game is to avoid to be the worst team in the tournament. Before this game, the Wydad AC had been playing a very good football because they could compete against the Man City and Juventus, but they couldn't defeat them. And the Al Ain, they couldn't compete against the other two teams because they had lost both games for more than 4 goal difference. So about this game, the Al Ain was the best team. They deserved this victory because they were attacking. They were the best team. In the end, they won the game 2-1, and they finished in the third place. With this victory, how I told you, the Al Ain won its first 3 points of the tournament. They finished in the third place, and the Wydad finishes in the bottom with 4 points. And in the games of the Group H, in the first game, Al Hilal defeated the Tuzos de Pachuca 2-0. Before this game, the Al Hilal needed to win this game. It was a must. And Wydad, the RB Salzburg, they didn't win his game against Real Madrid to qualify to the next round. And the Tuzos de Pachuca was one of the sections of the tournament. They were eliminated before this game. About this game, because Al Hilal needed to win this game, they were the best team in this game. Even though the Tuzos de Pachuca play a very good game, but because Al Hilal had the motivation, to win this game. They won this game by 2-goal difference. They scored the first goal in the minute 22 by Salem Al Dabsiri, and the second goal was in the stopping time, almost in the end of the game. The Marcos Leonardo scored it in the minus 90 plus 5, and in the end they won this game 2-0. With this victory, Al Hilal finishes in the second place, and they qualify as a second place, and the Tuzos and Pachuca finishes in the bottom of the group. They finishes pointless, and this was a deception because I expected a little more to Pachuca. I expected that minimum they were gonna to battle, or they were gonna to fight to qualify to the knockout round. And I expected that minimum they were gonna to have 1 point, but the problem is that, remember that Guillermo Almada, the Tuzos de Pachuca head coach, decided to resign before this tournament 3 weeks ago because he had a fight. He had a fight with the Tuzos player and with the Tuzos front office, and for that reason he decided to resign. The Tuzos de Pachuca decided to sink Jimmy Lozano. In my opinion, is not a good head coach. We saw in this tournament we saw in this tournament why he is not a very great coach, and this was one of the reasons why they lost this tournament. But also because the problem with Guillermo Almada. But in the end, this was one of the worst participation of the Liga MX team in any FIFA international tournament. So let's see what happened with Pachuca in the next tournament. In the second game of the day and the last game of the tournament in the group stage, the Real Madrid didn't have any problem, and they defeated and humiliated the RB Salzburg. Before this game, the RB Salzburg needed minimum to tie this game or win this game to qualify to the next round, and they needed to avoid any tie, because if not, they were going to be eliminated. And Real Madrid had almost the game in their control. They needed to tie or win this game to qualify to the knockout round. But if the Real Madrid lose, they were going to be eliminated. But about this game, Real Madrid was the best team from the beginning to the end. They had the game under control, and they were attacking in the first half, but they couldn't score any goal. But almost in the end of the first half, in a lapse of 8 minutes, in the last minutes of the first quarter, in the first half, the Real Madrid scored the first 2 goals of the game. In the minus 40, Vinicius Jr. scored the first goal, and in the stopping time in the first half, Federico Valverde scored the second goal, and in the half time, Real Madrid were leading the game 2-0, and the game was over. In the second half, the RB Salzburg needed to minimum tie this game. They needed to score two goals to try to qualify to the knockout round, but this was impossible because when Real Madrid have the advantage, it's almost impossible to try to tie them, to take away the advantage and to win the game. In the second half, because the RB Salzburg needed to win this game, to score more goals, they decided to attack more. Real Madrid decided in the second half to try to defend and counter-attack, and almost in the end of the game, in the minute 84, Gonzalo Garcia Torres scored the Real Madrid's third goal, and in the end, the Real Madrid won the game 3-0. Now, Real Madrid qualified as a first place to the knockout round. They finished with 7 points, 2 victories on one side, and RB Salzburg was eliminated. They finished in the third place with 4 points, and to be honest, this is a deception and one of the failures, because I don't understand how the RB Salzburg Europe team couldn't qualify against an Asian and CONCACAF team. So what's next now? The group stage finishing today, and the knockout round, the round of 16, will start this next Saturday. So tomorrow will be a bye day, and the FIFA Club World Cup is going to return this weekend for the knockout round to the round of 16. So in each group, the teams that qualified to the next round were the Palmeiras and the Inter Miami. The Inter Miami is the surprise because nobody expected that they were going to qualify. The PSG, the new champion team in the UEFA Champions League, and the Botafogo, the reigning champion team in the Copa Libertadores, and the Athletic was eliminated. One of the surprise in the tournament, the Benfica, one of the surprise because they finished in the first place. The Bayern Munich and the Boca Juniors were eliminated. The Flamengo, the Chelsea qualified to the next round, the Inter and Rayados Monterrey, one of the surprise because they eliminated the River Plate, the Borussia Dortmund, the Fluminense, the Manchester City and Juventus, and the Real Madrid and Al Hilal. So the bracket will be the next in the left side. In the left side will be Inter against Fluminense, Manchester City against Al Hilal, Palmeiras against Botafogo, and Benfica against Chelsea. And in the right side of the bracket, will be the PSG against the Inter Miami, Flamengo against Bayern Munich, Real Madrid against Juventus. It will be a tremendous game, and Borussia Dortmund against Rayados. So the round of 16 will start this next Saturday with the first two games: the Palmeiras against Botafogo and Benfica against the Chelsea. Later, this next Sunday will follow with the PSG against Miami, Inter Miami, and Flamengo against Bayern Munich. Later, this next Monday is gonna to continue with the Inter against Fluminense and Manchester City against Al Hilal, and we'll finish this next Tuesday between the Real Madrid against Juventus and Borussia Dortmund against Rayados Monterrey. Remember that tomorrow I'm gonna to record a video where I'm gonna talk about the teams that qualify to the knockout round, and I'm gonna to give my prediction about all the knockout rounds, the round of 16, the quarterfinal, the semi-final, and the final, and the team that will win this tournament. So let's see what happens. So I hope you like this video, and if you have any comments, suggestions, you can write me and then on my social media platform. So see you next video. Gibran.